Welcome to the Cult Film Showdown, where we put the creep in Creepshow. We are continuing our look at the Shudder TV original Creepshow from 2020-ish, 2019. And I am James Cotta. I am joined by Nick Boxer.
Creep and Creep Show just makes me want to talk about this episode about getting Ed, but
And also Jack Hall.
Hey, so I've been writing us a theme song. It
Nice.
goes, tell me what you think. It goes, Help Film Showdown. Yeah. What do you think?
Feels like that's the sting. Like you need like if you had a lead in and then that was like the end of it that you could fade out. Like I really like that part is the end. Yeah.
I have another alternate version. It goes,
Mhm.
Cult Film Showdown. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't eat that last one. Yeah.
No, I'm not done yet. Yeah. There you go.
I think we run that through auto tune and we're done.
What do you mean I need auto tune? All right, let's talk about the Creep Show.
Creepshow. This is a cool anthology that we are on. We're looking at our third episode of the series. This is season 3, episode 6, and it's a 2-story episode. With the stories are drug traffic and a dead girl named Sue. So let's start with drug traffic. Nick, tell us what happens in drug traffic.
Okay, we join, basically every the story on a bus heading across the Canadian border or back from the Canadian border. And all these people have come back from picking up cheap prescription drugs on the Canadian side of the border. On the way back, they're confronted by the border agent, played by Michael Rooker, and he has sort of a showdown with a politician that's traveling the bus routes campaigning for affordable health care. Michael Rooker, the border guard, is oddly cast as, I think he's a communist border guard. I thought that was a little strange, but it turns out one of the girls on the bus is infected with some sort of head floating zombie virus. So we now get
go around.
Yeah. So Michael Rucker and the politicians seem to have some sort of debate about healthcare in the States while fighting or trying to survive from Asian ghost monster floating head thing.
Asian ghost monster thing. I like that. And it's true. It's the young lady who's sick the whole time. She her head detaches from her body, taking a chunk of spine and stuff and some kind of gore with it, and then it floats. Like that's it floats in air, which seems like a whole extra thing. But
to me, the really rude part is she's not even wearing a mask, so she could spread that anywhere.
That's true. That's true. Not even, she's not distancing. Nothing. Nothing. No precautions.
Nothing.
I did love that. Yeah.
Prescription drugs can keep it in check. Is that?
I don't think they were keeping it in check.
No, I think
what the mom says.
Because they get pulled out of line because the mom has just an astounding amount of. I think they're just painkillers. Like they're. It's weird. Well, I mean, even stranger. It's like enormous piles of some drug with Chinese writing on the packaging, which I don't know how that ties into Canada's prescription drug controls, but I think they were just some sort of painkiller or antipsychotic or something like that. I don't think it was specifically for whatever the heck she had.
Oh, really? You don't think that mysterious Chinese drug was not specifically made to stop head floating disease?
That's,
Oh,
I mean,
Like, is that in the small print? Like, may also be used for?
well,
yeah. You know how at the end of commercials they say this may cause bladder control problems, erectile dysfunction. That's one of them. That's one of the listed. May not stop head floating disease.
uh, well, I mean, they were developing it as a cure for head floating disease, but they also found that it gave guys a hard on, so that they really marketed for that.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. I understand the other one just made people lose weight.
She did lose weight, that's for
She
sure.
did. She did lose
It
a lot of
really
weight,
slimmed her right down.
but it didn't curb her appetite. It's
No,
funny. She ate everybody. This floating head.
there.
Oh,
I mean, we all know there's no defense for a floating head.
no, no. A floating head coming to you at almost a half a mile an hour is just devastating. How are you going to get away?
Inescapable.
Inescapable.
It is the nightmare. Yeah.
Oh man.
I I do want to say I really liked Reid Scott, who plays the Congressman.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
he was a regular on Veep,
Yep.
the HBO series. I really like him as an actor. I've seen him in a bunch of other stuff, but uh, he just, I mean, the same as Veep. He just fit the serious, like schmoozy, looks good in a suit guy so well. Like you totally bought him
As a career
from the jump.
politician.
Yeah, just from the jump,
Yeah.
he's a career politician now.
Yeah, exactly. He just feels like a fake politician through and through. So playing a slimy fake politician, having, political arguments with Michael Rooker's communist security guard. is-
I
I don't
really,
know. Somehow that's not even close to the weirdest thing in this episode. Like,
I could have done with a full length episode of just them like debating more. Um, you know, find a way to have her kill a few more people, and
or less.
it was a
I was
lot.
too interested in the human characters, and then we got one of these gross out scenes, which were awesome. But
Yeah,
I mean,
good effects.
I sort of went in with a like it's an either or situation. This is not chocolate and peanut butter. I it was whiplash of the like Creepshow variety. Because the debate scenes are not the zombie scenes. The zombie scenes are the zombie scenes, and they're awesome. And there's gore, and it's all over the place. But it was one or the other. You could
yeah,
edit this to really good short films.
I totally agree. My biggest problem with this episode was like some people, like Reid Scott, as you mentioned, I mean, and some other people seem to be playing it for laughs. And then like the mother and Michael Rooker, I think, were playing it straight. And it's not like that it's changing tones from like, hey, we're trying to mix in a little humor with our horror. It's like one is playing it totally straight and one is playing it totally like this is. But it does give Reid Scott had probably the best line in the history of cult film Showdown when I mean, Michael Rooker says something to him about, there's a floating head and it's killing everybody, and he says something and goes, I know, fucking immigrants, huh? It was the greatest line.
He's just trying to he's like every second trying to work out how to spin everything that's going on.
His wife gets killed. He's like, that'll probably get me a few sympathy points in the polls.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. Meanwhile, the mother is like horrified that her daughter's floating around, and and it's all because you didn't let her have her medicine.
That's right.
Now,
Oh
when the mother
man.
cut off her own head to to save the zombie thing. Do you think that was a moment of sacrifice, or was she possessed by the demon as well?
I thought it was just that she was so horrified over what had happened that she was killing herself. Because how could she possibly know that that head would go, hey, another body? I can attach myself to that one instead. Then again, that I'm
She
looking for logic in
very
this episode, and there is none. There's no explanation for any of this.
uh, I went with sacrifice. Um, I cannot explain the how she knew that would work part of it, but then I mean, if you're gonna go that way, why didn't she just stay in Canada where she could get the weird Chinese prescription drugs?
Yeah.
Like it
Free
seems like a lot of
healthcare,
work to keep going back and forth.
cheaper drugs, free healthcare. Why not?
Yeah, I mean
You know.
the healthcare is free, but the wait time to get treated for head floating disease.
Oh, forever.
I mean that's your trade-off. Like if you could pay through the nose, or you can
Huh?
wait for free.
I got a cousin up in Canada. He's been waiting almost 2 years. It's just brutal.
Now, another question I had. I think the Michael Rooker as a comics thing was really interesting, but did they have enough time to explore it? Because I mean, he's still playing a redneck, basically the way
Well,
he's
he's
playing.
playing
So,
Michael Rooker. I mean, Michael Rooker is one of the most entertaining people ever on screen, but it
but
was
I
a
had to
weird
keep
role.
reminding myself he was arguing the liberal side,
Yeah.
not the conservative side, and I think this was just too short. And Michael Rooker's force of personality pushed it in the wrong direction for me.
I think it was a bit. I think it was playful to do it. It is actually something that an American friend said to me. Just like a friend of mine from California said to me really recently, is that he's annoyed he doesn't have someone to vote for because the Democrats aren't left enough, and that's kind of how that really painted the way that I saw Michael Rooker was like.
Well, half the party is, and half the party isn't.
Yeah, like you can see Michael Rooker with a Bernie t-shirt on. Like that's
Yeah.
what they're. That's like
He and
the
Yeah,
kind of
AOC
I
vibe
going
don't see
out.
that I
Michael
got.
Rooker pasties on. So
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
once
This
again,
wasn't
put
the
the creep show.
strongest. Yeah, not the strongest of the creep shows we've seen so far, but um, a lot of fun to talk about because it's batshit. And it had that line. It had that greatest line in the history
That
of
was
film
awesome.
or TV.
I really dug
Uh,
that one.
yeah.
All right, well, our second tale is a dead girl named Sue. Nick, you gonna do this one?
Sure. This one stars a small town cop, and he just happens to live in the same world as Night of the Living Dead. The townsfolk are all up in arms that there's some sort of murderer dude who's also the son of the mayor, so he gets away with everything. And the townspeople want him for blood, are out for blood, but the cop is going to do the right thing until he actually corners this asshole jerk mayor's son and discovers irrefutable proof that yes, he did indeed kill the little girl who lived down the lane. His solution is not only to put on a show for the townspeople, but to indeed feed him to the Night of the Living Dead zombies. And nice enough, he still has the little girl he murdered uh, in custody. And since it's Night of the Living Dead, she's not all that dead.
Yeah, I like the convoluted way they get to the end. And that the murder had happened, and they had the body of the girl, but the uh, the forensics guy suddenly wanted to go on a vacation, paid for by the guy's dad, so that there was no way to do an autopsy. and that's why the body hasn't been cut up. It hasn't been like preserved. Or it hasn't been what you call it, embalmed. Is although embalming must not matter. She hasn't been all cut up. I mean, it occurs to me now, like, what else was going to happen to the body? Like, I mean, now the living dead people that are embalmed come back all the time. Um, I suppose that he hadn't dissected the girl, I guess, is the thrust there. As I'm saying it,
That's a
I'm
good
like, you
point.
don't actually need any of that explanation.
Yeah, that explanation was just rubbing salt on the wounds. I don't think it needed to make sense.
I really dig
It's
how
for
they
poetic justice.
I really dig how they fit this into Night of the Living Dead, though. That it's on the outskirts of what's going on, because they talk about, well, that's happening in the city or that's happening near the city. Um, that's not like going to be a problem for us, um, and then but they're getting the same news broadcasts that we see in Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, I thought that was a really great touch that they used the original footage. Otherwise, this would have been just sort of a cheap homage. But because of
That's the
that new
thing.
footage, I think it really put it in that world of Night of the Living Dead.
That's the thing. I mean, it is a cousin or sister or brother or whatever family member of Night of the Living Dead because it is filmed in black and white and it's the same style of camera shots and it's the same even the acting is the same
Yeah,
style of acting, this slightly wooden amateurish acting, but I mean it's a really good job of actually recreating how those actors are in it, and it feels like a an indie production in the same way, and really well done. Yeah, just having the news footage and the way the TVs that they're using. I don't know, did they superimpose the TV from the movie into the screen, or like how did they do that? Like because even the TVs were old and looked right, and everything looked right.
yeah. I imagine you just make a blue screen out of the TV, but I mean, this we also already had the episode that really integrated the original work into into the new episode. So like the TV stuff was probably pretty simple compared to the Horror Express bit that they did.
That's true. We talked about earlier. No, I thought this was adequately creepy. It kind of tried to have a moral ending in the same ambiguous way of Night of the Living Dead. So I mean, I thought it fit in. It's not like one that you need to go back and watch again, but as a little piece, I thought it was pretty good.
Actually, it just dawned on me. I mean, it is an homage and it's a love letter to the Night of the Living Dead, but it does have its own directorial flourishes. I mean, having like the bow in color
Mm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
has some nice little pops. It does have a voice of its own. I think it's stronger. I don't. I mean, because it's short. I don't think it's a masterpiece, but I do think they're trying something and they mostly succeeded.
What's interesting about it is it felt like it's something that could have been a short that you'll see at your average horror con that just happened to make it onto Creepshow. But it doesn't feel
Mhm.
like it was made for Creepshow so much. It feels like something that was, just kind of thrown on. Whereas the last episode was definitely made for Creepshow. Hell, the creep, I think he shows up at the very end of that episode.
Yeah,
Though
he
I
does. Yeah.
mean, it was he looked so weird that I couldn't tell for sure.
I will say that as you said, the copying the camera angles and the film grain, like they did just an exceptional job of that. Because it doesn't feel like a different director. It feels uh, like Romero had just done this on the side, because they do copy the angles and those low angles that he used, like the way that he did lighting and angles to make people look even more frightened than they were. Uh, and speaking of great lines, one of the greatest lines in horror was included in this because it shows the news footage. Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
Yes, that incredible line was there. Great line.
Mm-hmm. Uh, yeah, no, it was a strong episode. Man, I gotta say, I loved these so much.
Yeah. It's not like a fast-paced, crazy episode like you kind of expect most of the creep shows to be. It's a little bit more of a slow burn, but it's pretty damn cool. So well done.
Yeah, interesting that you can do a slow burn at 25 minutes. There's not a there's other shows have tried. All right, well that was drug traffic and a dead girl named Sue. Those were a lot of fun. And our next episode, if you're watching along, is season 2, episode 1. The stories are Model Kid and Public Television of the Dead. You've been listening to the Cult Film Showdown. You can find the Cult Film Showdown on YouTube and on your favorite podcast app. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, all of those things. It really helps us get the word out about the show. You can also support the Cult Film Showdown on Patreon at the Cult Film Showdown. Thanks for listening, and we'll be talking to you soon. I have very few memories from that time, and because I grew up in the country, there's no context to put it more in time. Um, I know that I watched the Star Wars Holiday Special live.
Yeah,
But
I
it,
did
it
too.
it it aired twice in Canada though, so it was 78 or 79 that I saw it. Um, and in fact was the only Star Wars I saw for another 4 years.
Wow.
Um, I saw Jedi at the drive-in was the first feature that I saw.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
I was
sad.
old enough to go on my own to return. And I saw the original New Hope in the drive-in with my
First
parents.
movie I went to see on my own. I think I was 9. I went by myself, or 8. Went by myself to see Super Fuzz, the Italian, the
That's so
Italian.
much cooler than my first solo movie.